Casanova. Hey everybody, welcome to the D. Louise book series. I'm Christina, Kristina, and this is where we talk about series books. Every once in a while, we'll do a standalone. Did a couple, A Witch in Time and The Patriot That, and the the Green book. But mostly I do series books. I'm a series person. I like to get to know the characters from book to book to book. So we doing Flashback Mondays. Please check that out. I do an awful lot of work for that one, and no one's showing up. Star Trek Next Generation Fridays. It's a series. We go episode to episode with character progression. So one of the series that we've been doing quite often is JD Robb, and like I have said Casanova previously, the early JD Robbs I have in hardcover, but I also have them in paperback. The original Thorndikes, if you take one of those and listen to an audiobook, they're different. They're missing paragraphs. That's why they reissued the paperbacks with the additional paragraph in them. So some of the early ones, and I will do a video on those one day of the beginning ones. But anyway, before we get too sidetracked, we're doing Concealed in Death. Your book or your audiobook. I love Susan Erickson. I can listen to these forever. And apparently I can because I have 60 books of these. So today we're doing Concealed in Death. And this starts a new story arc, I guess. Little story arc, anyway. We're getting 2 new recurring characters. Not often. They'll show up every couple of books or something, but they're recurring. So this is a different one. I usually give the spiel about Eve Dallas is a New York City Police and Security Department person, and she sees herself totally focused as a cop, and all this stuff. If you've gone through other videos with me in the Icove case and the girls. We're having a girl fight. Oh well. Girl fight. So anyways, so I usually do the big spiel about Eve being raised in the foster system and the whole 9 yards there, but a lot of that was kind of settled in New York to Dallas, so we're kind of moving on from that. But she's still awkward in social situations. She's still awkward at holidays and gift giving and all that kind of situation. But in this one, it's a and I usually also mention that sometimes you have a book where the person who done it, I've had some where they've shown up, taken, hello, how are you type of thing in an early chapter, and then you never see them again, or some that ride each chapter throughout the book and you never know it. This particular who done it, you don't meet until almost the end of the book, almost clearly to the end. But this is a little different. Like I said, we've got 2 new characters coming in. And we're getting some interesting background on Mavis. Mavis has been a character that has been with us since book 1. And we're getting a little bit of a backstory on her origins. Book after book after book, we've heard, oh, I met her when I was on the grift, blah, 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 blah. And I'm really getting tired of that sentence. I'm over it, because it's been, at this point, it's been written 38 times. I believe this is book 38. I will double check. But I believe this, yeah, because I did, Thankless was 37 and Taken was 37 and a half. So this should be book 38 in the series. And being repeated each book, it's getting a little old. So this is the first time that we are actually getting more Mavis background. And so we start the book, and you'll have to forgive me, I'm going to do my reading. I can't go through these books without sharing. We start the book with Roarke is rehabbing an old building, and he's going to turn it into Andedian. I think that's right, Andedian. I have to listen to the audiobooks a million times to get it right. A place for kids to live and learn, and a school that they can live there in honor of his wife, who spent too much time in the foster program. He's got all those women's shelters and clinics for women, and getting them through if they were abused or beaten and stuff like that. So now he's going after the kids, those who are abandoned, those in the foster system, those needing help. And he's going to create a school, a classroom. It's going to be a running storyline for a few books. And that's why we're getting a new recurring, well, a new Nathan. Well, I don't want to spoil it too much right up front, but anyways, so he's getting ready to rehab this building, and Roarke is an on-scene person. He's the richest guy in the universe. Eve always complains that he owns most of it. So he's rehabbing this building, and they're doing the ceremonial breaking down the walls because they didn't know it until a couple of pages later. But these were fake walls. These were walls that somebody else put up. They were not in the original blueprints. So he's taking down the wall, doing the sledgehammer thing, and they discover some bodies concealed behind the wall, concealed in death. So so he's the one that's calling Eve. Eve, I think I need you. And she goes through, and they're all bones. And they get a new bone person. You know, if you've read Kathy Reichs, this is Garnet De Winter. And Eve takes a dislike to her in regards to her dog. And it takes a few chapters before Eve confronts her, and De Winter explains the dog situation. And we're all right there with De Winter that she did the right thing. It's going to take Eve a little bit to get past it. She's going to pick on that little piece of thing, and it's going to irk, it's going to irk everybody. So we've got our regular characters. Eve, of course. Oh, crap. All right. I don't know how to edit that out, so you'll have to live with it. I'm sorry. I hope you're still here. Oh, shit, not again. Okay. I don't know how to edit that out. I'm sorry. I just don't. I'm not that sophisticated. Everybody else in this world would know how to edit that out. I don't. So we'll get that fixed. But I don't know how to edit it out. I'm sorry. I hope you stuck with me as my cat was losing his hairball. Casanova is a very, very long-haired cat. Thank you if you stuck with me. I hope you stuck with me through that. So we have a Peabody, and is Eve's partner, and McNabb is her live-in spouse, and he's an EDG detective up in the electronics division. Feeney is the captain. He's also Eve's mentor. Mira is the shrink. Dennis is her husband. We're going to get a good moment with them in this book. Whitney, we see Baxter and Trueheart. We catch up with them. And then we have Mavis. Of course, I mentioned before that we're going to get some backstory with her. Leonardo, her husband. Bella, and Nadine is the reporter from Now. She's also a friend. She's also the one that wrote the book on the Cove case, the one that's going for the movie, and that we did in Celeb. It was after Celebrity. Celebrity is the party for the presenting of the bloopers. And Trina. And I have my original receipt for this book, but you can't see it. I taped it on my bookmark. I got it from Barnes. Look how blank that is. So anyways, we get the first chapter that Roarke is taking down a wall. They discover the bodies. In comes Morris and Garnet de Winter, the bone lady. And like I said, Eve has a problem about the dog, and she gripes on it for a couple of books. So we have a couple of moments. Let's see. We have a couple of good moments in here where Mira has come to talk to Eve in her office. And we get a little, at Thankless Death, we ended at the Thanksgiving dinner that Eve held for all her friends. And the Blasses were there and had Nixie with them. And Nixie presented Eve with this gift. So Mira is in her office. Rising again, Mira walked over to admire the sketch of Eve in full kiss-ass mode. Yeah, it's good. Nixie Swisher did it for a school project or assignment something. Little Nixie, who survived by chance, luck, fate, the brutal and bloody home invasion that had killed her entire family. That's Survivor in Death, if you haven't been there yet. It's wonderful. I didn't realize she was so talented. I think she got an assist from Richard. Regardless, it's excellent and captures you. She'd be so pleased you put it there. I told her I would on Thanksgiving when she gave it to me. Anyway, it reminds me, even when the worst happens, when you think you can't make another step, you can. You can survive. I only saw her briefly when Richard and Elizabeth brought the children to New York, but I could see she's done more than survive. She's begun to thrive. She turned away, glanced at the board again. They never will. So they go on. And then I like this moment when we've seen this character earlier in the book, but this is when we get a second look at her. So Eve and Peabody have just finished questioning some people at the youth center. And they coming out, and she goes, do you want me to track down this Seraphim who has the bad taste to date a free ager? Untwist your panties, Peabody. A lot of people consider free agers a little out in the weird. Because we believe in personal choice and acceptance and respecting the planet and everything and everyone on it. There's that, Eve said easily, enjoying the moment. And the weaving your own cloth, living in communes, or mostly growing sheep and carrots and paying homage to the goddess Moonglow for the harvest. There is no goddess Moonglow. Well, it's an easy mistake since half of free aged women are named Moonglow or Rainbow or Sundrop. I only have one cousin named Rainbow, and my cousins are Legion. In a huff, Peabody leaned on the car as well. You're effing with me. Nice mouth, free agent girl, and yeah, some. Philly in there, she's all about talking the inclusive and might believe she means it. But her idea of what everybody would believe God-wise would fit in a small box with a very tight lid. Oh, yeah, that's true. And she strikes me as the type who doesn't mean to dismiss others' belief systems or even their lack thereof. She's just so unshakably sure hers is right, and more the only right one. Peabody paused a moment. What are we waiting for? Eve jerked a chin toward the building as the front door opened. Her. Quilla squeezed out the door. She paused at the palm plate, pulling out something out of her pocket, shoving it underneath. Then she strolled very casually down the steps, turned toward the bench, now empty, in the tiny courtyard. Then suddenly veered off blind spot, Eve guessed. jogged to the fence, vaulted over it, and strutted up to Eve. She said, "Hey, back at you. You're completely the Icove cops. We're New York cops," Eve corrected, and got a big eye roll. "You get me. What did you put on the plate the security to get clear?" Quilla shrugged. "It's a jammer. We've got a couple of good e-geeks in the group. I paid one of them to make me one. You came because of all the dead girls they found this morning, right?" "What dead girls?" "Shit, get up. The ones that were all dead to the bone up in Midtown." And it goes on there. I'll leave you with that. So that's Quilla, and she gets to be play an important part in future books. And Roarke is impressed with her too, and she will. I guess a little spoiler alert: she will go to work with Nadine. Nadine gives her a big leg up. So also during the a nice thing that has become tradition in even Rourke's little family and in the book's tradition that us readers enjoy, although it's not in this book, it's probably going to be in the next one, are the Christmas parties. And I would like a little more to the party. I read this book recently and I was complaining that it was all character interaction and no mystery. Most of these books are 80% mystery and 20% interaction. And when it comes to the Christmas party, I'd like an extra page or two, because sometimes JD Robb, or Nora Roberts as you want to call her, keeps it a short scene. Sometimes I'd like it a little longer. I like to catch up with the individual characters, what's going on. There was a barbecue, or will be a barbecue, and it's one of my favorites because it's an extended scene. And I think it's in the one of the in-between books. But one I wanted to share this little piece, and it's probably a spoiler, but it's an important. I think it's an important piece of the series. She started working the theory in her head while the cat streaked out of her office. A boy, she speculated, a few years older, charismatic, wouldn't he have to be, luring girls into the empty building? How? Some at least had to know him, trust him, maybe attracted to him. How he gets them in there, subdues them. How? Drugs? So many of them had substance abuse problems and the smarts to score. Maybe he drugged them, then killed them. How? As much as she hated it, she had to wait for De Winter to tell her. Frustrated, she stepped into the bedroom. The tree stood by the window as it had now for 3 holidays. The room smelled of pine, and the applewood had simmered in the fireplace. The cat was curled up dead center of the bed as if he'd been there for hours. "We don't have to do it tonight," Roarke told her. She looked at the stack of box decorations, shook her head. They'd done this together twice before, and they'd continue tradition for a zillion years if she had her way. "Tonight's good. Tonight's right. How about we pour some wine and get that sucker dressed? How about we pop champagne? Even better." It's the first time she'd walked into the bedroom to see a Christmas tree had been a little overwhelming. Now it was simply tradition. The elves could take care of the rest of the house, drape it in lights and tinsel, put up a dozen trees. She wasn't sure she'd ever counted all of them, but this was theirs. So with the fire simmering, champagne bubbling, and hokey Christmas music playing in the background, they decorated their personal tree. The cat uncurled, sat for a moment or two to watch. With a decided lack of interest, he stretched ears to tail, turned his habitual 3 circles, then settled down for another nap. "The whole city's like holiday on Zeus Eve," commented, "and it's only going to get worse. Then we'll have the B&Es, where as traditional Santa, the Christmas burglar swoops in, snatches all the presents under the tree, and has them fenced by dawn." "Bah, humbug." "Yeah, but hit this version of ho, ho, ho. Then there's the shoplifting, the pickpocketing, as the tourists flock in with their wallets practically jumping into out into their pickpockets' hands. Ah, happy memories, Rourke said. December was always a busy month when I was a boy on the hunt for those jumping wallets. I bet. Back when I was in uniform, you couldn't keep up with the incident reports on muggings, purse snatching, and lifted wallets in December. She hung a Jolly Santa with an overflowing pouch. Then it gets closer to Christmas and you start getting the domestic disputes, the drunken disorderlies, the botched self terminators, the murders, and the holiday favorite, murder suicide. My cop, he said affectionately. What cheerful thoughts she has on this festive occasion. I like it. Murder suicide? Sorry, darling, I'll have to disappoint you. Maybe next year. No, Christmas I didn't used to. When I was a kid, after Richard Troy, she qualified, he'd go out, get plowed, and probably laid. That was a gift, come to think about it. Anyway, after it was always weird if I was in a foster home and the fucking depressing in a group home. So it wasn't high on my list of holidays. It wasn't roasted goose and plum pudding in my memories either. I usually go over to a mate's or a few of us would go out, bang around, hunting more wallets. He sent her a cheerful look. You have to celebrate somehow, after all. Yeah, you do. I used to take the extra shifts so cops with families could get the break. And after Mavis and I hooked up, we'd do something. She studied a shiny silver reindeer. Why are there reindeer? What kind of name is that? They need the reins for Santa to navigate the sleigh. She slanted him a look. Right. Anyway, with me and Mavis and Christmas, it usually involved a lot of alcohol. We conserve that tradition, he topped off her glass. She dragged me out ice skating once, she thought, the memory back, laughed, and what the hell, drank more champagne. We were both pretty trashed by that time, or she'd never have talked me into it. I'd pay good money to see that. She zipped around pretty good. She had this pink coat with purple flowers all over it, and she'd done her hair in Christmas red and green. That hasn't changed. I wondered how Mavis came to have that ugly gray coat you borrowed. He drew out of his pocket the button he always carried, the one that had fallen off the unfortunate coat the first time they met. Hold over from her grifting days. A blend and be dull deal, she called it. That explains it. He slid the button away. And how were you on the ice, Lieutenant? It's just balance and motion. I stayed on my feet. She would have, but she kept trying to do those fancy spins, and she'd face plant or fall on her ass. She had bruises everywhere, and I still had to drag her off the damn ice after an hour or something. Ice is freaking cold. I've heard that. We should try it sometime. Ice skating? She gave him a look of genuine shock. You, me? Which makes we. Brian and I and some others liberated some skates one winter. We must have been 14 or 15 around that time. We had a go at playing ice hockey, Dublin rules, which means none at all. And yes, my God, the bruises were majestic. So they go on, and uh, where's that page? Another little tease. Um, we're late. Mavis bounced in on thigh-high platform boots as red as Rudolph's nose. Her hair a twisting, curling, corkscrewing mass of sunshine covered with glitter. Silver glitter tumbled around a face that lasered out smiles. Work. I was just finishing up. I just wanted to ask you a couple of questions about street life. Girl packs, street packs, flops, chain of command, anything I can get. It's work, Mavis said slowly in an un-Mavis like tone. The girls in the building on the west side, their bodies in the old bidding. I turned off the screen because I didn't want to hear about it. Sorry, I wanted to pick your brain a little, Eve began. They're all dead, these girls, all of them? Yeah, Eve didn't like the way the rosy glow in Mavis' cheeks dyed to sickly white. Let's go downstairs and talk about it. A case, your case, but I knew them. This one and this one and this one too. What? What do you mean? I knew her. She gestured to Shelby, and her, Mickey, and her, LaRue. I knew them, Dallas, before you. I knew them before you. They were friends of mine. So you'll have to check that out. Then we get a little interaction with Nadine, and it's usually every once in a while Nadine will appear at the police station, and it'll be an in and out page or two. But this goes on for several pages, and I really enjoy it, and I don't want to spoil it all by reading the whole thing to you. But I wanted to bring up this one little section here that is a spoiler potential. They get to talking, and she goes, "I'm writing my next book." Oh, such enthusiasm, Nadine says. The ICO agenda took everything up a level for me. I'm ready to dig into another. My working title is Ride the Red Horse. You're going to write about Calloway, about Manzini? It's a natural occult, a crazed leader harking back to the urban wars, a deadly weapon used to cause ordinary people to hallucinate and kill each other within minutes. The legacy passed on, the courageous cop who brought them down. Shit. Really, try to control your joy. I'll be tapping you, Roarke, the team, from time to time. I'm drafting it out, and I'll be asking you to look over the finished manuscript to make sure you're okay with it. They're going to make another vid, aren't they? Bet your ass. While I'm working on that, I'd like to give the 12 girls some play. Respect, she said before Eve could speak. You know you'll do what you do to get them justice. I'll do what I do so people know they existed. So check it out. I know I've overstayed my welcome, but I can't help it. These are my books. This is my series, my go-to series for everything. My Eve Dallas, my JD Robb, my Nora Roberts, my murder cop, friendship, character development from book to book to book. This is just the series for me, the number one series. And there are a couple others that come close. We will get to Sherlock and Shavik, but it doesn't have the same touch as this one. Or Donna Andrews, the Owl series, or Victoria Thompson, the Gaslight series, and a couple of other Gaslight series I've read. But this is my favorite. There's none that comes closer with the character development, the continual story from book to book to book. So please check it out, and please hit the like and subscribe. Let me know I'm doing a good job. And I'm sorry we lost a minute or two. I do not know how to edit. I'm not that complicated. It's just me reading books, talking books. There's no special effects going on here, people. I'm trying really hard. I would like a Christmas present from y'all to subscribe. I would like 1,000 subscribers by Christmas. I know it's going to take a miracle. I only need 900 more. So I'd appreciate it if you'd hit the like and subscribe button for me. And my buddy over here would like, so please, thank you.